half-time. I don't think at any point Sadio Mane looks at him. I don't think he swings his arm necessarily. I think it's more he pushes it into his face. I don't think it's violent. I think it's quite reckless. I do. I think, but naturally you lead with your arm to jump up. And I think it is a foul, and I think it is a yellow card, and I think the referee agrees with that. I think Glenn and myself said that at half-time. I think Azpilicueta has probably seen it with a blue pair of glasses on.
And crucially...
And a black eye.
And a black eye.
Yeah. And VAR have looked at that and are happy.
Yeah, I think we're happy with it. I can understand sometimes when you're the player it happens to, you get carried away in that moment, and probably when he looks at it, he hasn't had time to see it, probably. When he looks at it, he might think, yeah, I think the idea is if Mane had a little glance, if he'd had a glance first at Azpilicueta and then he'd done that, I'm thinking that's preordained. If you're thinking of doing something like that early in a game, then you have a little glance to make sure you'd get it right. Yeah. But I don't think he did. So for me, it was an accident. It wasn't violent. Yellow card, perfect. We move on.
And you're happy with that because there are people suggesting because it's so early in a game that might suggest to the referee, oh, you can't give a red card just yet. Where if it was after an hour, they might have a different thought process.
Yeah, a foul is a foul no matter what time. That is, it doesn't make any difference. But you always see it with, managers, with players saying, it's my first one, and they tend to let them off. Or back in the day, I think they let them off. But I think at this day and age, it doesn't matter what time it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning that challenge. I think it was a reckless challenge, it was a poor challenge, and deserved this yellow card. But I certainly think it's a bit extreme asking for a red for it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think we've dissected that enough now. It's move on, because as I say, if you're thinking of doing someone, you have a glance. You make sure you have a glance, and as I said, you do it with the end of that. I don't think that's in Mane's mind whatsoever. Yeah, it was a reckless challenge early in the game. Yes, the player might think you might get away with it because it's that early in the game, but it makes no difference from the first. As soon as that whistle, that's why the whistle blows, and then the whistle goes at half-time or at the end of the game. That is the end of the game. Everything in between, whether it's a foul, whether it's a bit of skill, is a part of the game. And, for me, I think the referee got it right.
And just for clarity, neither of you have any experience of that, so you're not talking from experience in terms
I've been on the end of it.
Oh, you've been on the end of it, yeah. Right, there's so much to get through. Trevor Chalobah, before the goals came, he had an interesting afternoon.
He did. He didn't start so well. He's been playing so well since he come in. That is so casual at the start of a game. A big centre-half, go and head it, get it away, be dominant. And he's tried to cushion it down to Thiago Silva here, and he's laid Mane in, and it's the last thing you want when you start such a big game like this as well, and there's a little bit of doubt goes in your mind, and I think this goes on to the next thing that happens when Liverpool score. I think he was on the back foot for the first. He swung his game round in the end, to be fair. I know he had to come off injured. It affected him for so long, but there was a period of time I felt that he had a little bit of a wobble, which happens with a young kid. You come in and do well, and that third, fourth game is consistent. He's going to have a little wobble time. He's going to have a time when he's going to make a few mistakes. And, he's got to learn from that and make sure that he recovers quickly. The suggestion to me and the signal to me is that he did turn his game round quickly within 90 minutes. So perhaps he hasn't got that much to learn going forward, and he'll kick on again.
And before we look at that Sadio Mane goal, at the other end, just before it, there was a similar instance where, did Kelleher do really well, or should Pulisic have done better, Michael?
I would say that Kelleher did really well. I don't really blame Pulisic there. I think when you get the ball and it just comes to you and you're almost stood still, I don't really know what else he can do here. His touch is fine. I mean, but because he's got no momentum at all, very hard to explode into life and get around the goalkeeper. He couldn't really shoot because Kelleher jumped on him straight away. So I would definitely say good goalkeeping ahead of a missed chance here. Now, the Sadio Mane goal was entirely different. And here it is, of course, here's the mistake by Chalobah. But look at the momentum. He's already running forward. You take it to the side of the goalkeeper and you can take it away from them as well. So I don't, I think that was more of a good finish.
Yeah, and once he pounces on that mistake, the ball's on the floor. It's lower to the floor, whereas I think Pulisic was up in the air spinning, and that's why he had to try and get it down. Whereas Mane sort of smothers the ball pretty quickly, takes the advantage of Chalobah's mistake to drill it home. You know, so he can go, as Michael says, go by the goalkeeper. It was a much easier skill to do than Pulisic, because Pulisic, if you said, the ball was spinning so much and he's fighting with it to get it down, but it just still stayed in the air for too long. And I think that's where Kelleher was fantastic and kept his temperament really well.
Mane's fourth goal for Liverpool against Chelsea. He still is not the top scorer in this fixture in the Premier League. That is your good self. So therefore, you're in very good position to tell us how good a finish Mo Salah's was in the second.
Oh, well, I didn't score many at Stamford Bridge, I know that. Only one, I think. But Mo Salah was, well, what do you expect from him?
This is his first at Stamford Bridge.
Is that right? I mean, that little shimmy there, the way he almost stops Alonso in his tracks. And to do it while you're running at a decent pace as well, doesn't normally fool the defender. As you see, Chelsea could have defended it better. Rudriger, Alonso is looking at the situation. Kovacic is actually in the area. He's best placed to cover, but none of them do it, and Mo Salah's off and away. And then this little shimmy that just, I mean, it sends Alonso a yard or 2 yards out of place. And then the finish, I mean, look at that little shimmy there, makes him stop. He's then in full flight. He opens his body out as if he's going to go to the far post and then just dips his ankle at the last minute.
What I love, Michael, about that goal is it's at the very beginning that I like it. He identifies. This is where Salah's so good. He identifies when to go. He's looked at them three Chelsea players that we've highlighted there, and he's seen them all in a straight line. And he knows the fella on the ball, Alexander-Arnold, can play balls with his eyes shut. And that it's the second one. And he knows that the Chelsea players are in a square. They're almost square. Look, he's going. He knows he's he's going to get in there. He's got the pace to get in there, and he knows his man's going to deliver it. And I think that's where the goal scored. Yes, the skill and everything, but he knows he's gone into another gear. Lovely first touch. Stop-start the keeper. Oh, beautiful, beautiful goal.
It's pure cat and mouse when you're an attacking player, because you can see something developing and you're getting excited, but you don't want to show your hand too quickly. He could have made a run sort of half a second before that. Someone would have spotted it. He would have run offside, lots of different things. So you're actually just seeing it. You're starting to get excited. Oh, the right man's on the ball. He's about to lift his head. And you're just timing it perfectly to not give the game away as well to your opponents. And Mo Salah does it so well.
Absolutely. And I watch strikers for exactly that. And when you're watching a striker, you think, what are you doing? You're wasting your energy. Yeah. The ball's not ready to come. There's pressure on the ball, or even individually, that player's not going to hit you. Sorry, it's on his left foot, it's his swinger. And he's making a run in behind the defender. And the defender goes, it's not coming. But that moment, he just went, we're on. This is the moment. I've been waiting for this all day. You know, and bang, he's in there, and that's top quality football.
Back to your point about Trevor Chalobah, because at 2-0, he made a very good challenge in a goal-scoring opportunity for Liverpool.
Well, he certainly did. He got across lovely, didn't he? Look at that there. He was waiting for the poor touch. It came. Salah just hits it a little bit too far, and he gets across and makes what was a really vital tackle. Look at the pace that he's had to make up. The ground he's made up, and he's given his teammates a chance to get all them blue shirts back and get themselves in a defensive unit.
Really interesting one, that, because I think it's very similar to the Van Dijk one later on in the game, where Van Dijk doesn't actually come across. He's actually crossed his centre-half partner there to make the challenge, whereas Van Dijk almost let his man have a shot, Pulisic, in that situation. So I thought that was really interesting and a real good decision, because all of these are split-second decisions. We talk about Mo Salah's run from attacking point of view. That's a split-second decision. Shall I leave Salah on his right foot? Shall I just, push him out wide? Or shall I go and commit myself, take the risk? And these are all split-second decisions that people have got to make on the pitch, and he made the right one.
Particularly, as Glenn says, after a couple of wobbles in the opening stages.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the first mistake that he made, the execution of it was fine. He just wasn't aware of what was around him. The second one was a bad decision. Obviously, should be going with his left foot. So, but yeah, to have almost a scrambled brain after making a couple of mistakes shows you that
sums
maturity.
up, that little mistake that we saw, Michael, sums up modern-day football to me. A centre-back is like the first opportunity you can put your head through.